All right, welcome back. It's still VOP this morning, and we are also being joined by Shola, Dr. I beg your pardon, Dr. Shola Ganiu, Managing Partner, KJB Professional Services. Now, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And we still have with us Olusegun Okwade, political enthusiast and public affairs commentator, with us in the building. We've been talking about situation in Nigeria. Now, another thing, 60 lawmakers of the House of Representatives, actually the one that proposed this particular bill is a member of the APC. Now, they have commenced moves to return Nigeria to a parliamentary system by 2031 by amending the 1999 Constitution. I know we've talked a whole lot about the amendment of this Constitution, or probably rewriting an entire one, a new constitution. Now, well, the spokesperson for the group, Representative Abdul Samad Dasuki, who's from PDP Sokoto, said this at a news conference at the National Assembly in Abuja on Wednesday. And according to him, the proposed amendment would significantly impact on the nation's political landscape. He further stated that the lawmakers were advocating a transition from the current presidential system to a parliamentary system at all levels, including federal, state, and local government councils. Now, the lawmaker said that the collapse of the First Republic and the long stretch of the military rule culminated in the adoption of a new system of government fashioned after the U.S. presidential system, but peculiar in a lot of ways. Now, he also did say that the system had hindered the nation's development progress as it vested excessive powers on the executive. Well, he did say that he said that the executive who are appointees, I beg your pardon, are not directly accountable to the people. Now, report states that parliamentary system is a system of government where the legislative is supreme and elects a prime minister from within the members of the legislature. That's basically what a parliamentary system was. You know, the prime minister, and then the prime minister is, you have to have influence over the legislature to be able to call the shots. That's in a parliamentary system of government. Now, I have the two gentlemen with me in the studio, Olusegun Ganiu, Dr. Olusegun Ganiu, and Mr. Olusegun Okwade. Now, let me start with you, Doctor. Parliamentary system of government, a return to the parliamentary system of government in Nigeria. We know we have complained about our own presidential system of government, albeit fashioned after the US, but then a little different in execution. Do you think a return to the parliamentary system of government is what Nigeria should be considering right now?
Okay, that's a brilliant question. Even US is not practicing fully parliamentary system. It's UK that is practicing it. Parliamentary system of government is just a system of government where the winning party, right, the winning party elects somebody to lead them from their group, and the person will stand like a prime minister, right? And if the person stands like a prime minister, and they also has the ability to relieve them of their destiny. That's why you could see that when Boris Johnson was there and the other lady and thereafter. But for me, it's like our parliament, they don't know, they don't have a KPI, they don't know what is next to do. You understand? For me, these are not the germane thing to be discussing at this point in time. You see, when we are talking about our export rate dwindling, when we are talking about our naira falling day in, day out, right? Talking about releasing how to bring in expertise, when we are talking about how to increase our level of export and bring in about investors. You can make a law that could strengthen our economy when we talk about insecurity here and there, budget here and there, to us as a thinker to say what are the laws we can put in place to be able to ensure that people that are bounty, people will be able to go to their farm and every other thing. Then you're talking about bringing in a parliamentary system of government. You see, for me, it's just like at time They said when the purpose of thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. It's just like Boss Mustafa coming up and saying that they forged the president's signature. This is an abuse to that office. It should not be had in the global space. The old #1 citizen of Nigeria, somebody forged his signature. Oh, come of it. And got away with it. Even in an environment where there are bureaucracy of signing, you can't just not, it's just not a one-man business. It goes through stages. And in the long run, you are now coming, they should just jail him and now coming with a discussion. Because what he said is undermining we are the giant of Africa. And you are coming and say that they forged a signature of the #1 citizen. It's awful. You know, it's because they've taken us, that's when they could say that a snake came in and swallowed a whole lot of money, and we can just take it like that and make it a whole lot of fun. You understand? So they've turned the place to the seat of jokers, right? So I think the best thing is that this is not a discussion, turning it to a parliament. Is it because the APC are the winning party now? So you now have a prime minister. So it's not, it does not snowball or culminate into what will lead. How is it going to affect our economy? How is it going to bring in investors, right? How is it going to reduce bandits?
No, but we've talked a lot about the Constitution, how Nigeria's Constitution is not working for us anymore. You know, there's been that conversation. So isn't this in light of a way of twisting or changing, amending the Constitution in such a way that it gets to work for Nigeria?
There's a lot of things they can change in the Constitution. I appreciate the one that we are leading that, increase the band of people vying for power from SSC to BSc. That makes some sense, right?
But that bill was stepped down.
Now imagine, that makes sense. Because what will an SSC holder, and what is he going to review? Right? And it's coming from. So those are the things that make sense. You come in and say that, how do we tweak our constitution? Though it has been overdue. There are a lot of things that should be changed there to be able to strengthen our economy and make Nigeria a better place to stay. Not talking about things that are infinitesimal.
Mr. Shison, for 6 years after we gained our independence, we were actually practicing this parliamentary system of government before the military came in, and all that actually started the whole thing before moving to this presidential system of government that we're having. Now, people are actually saying that this lawmaker coming up to bring up this actually saw the fact, or rather he's trying to usurp let's say the papers that it once worked for Nigeria, given to the fact that that is what we use to start our independence. Now he's using it to buy time, so that APC government will actually do what they want to do and then, move over, making it to be that this can be visible in 2031. Do you actually toe that line? Do you think that they are just saying all this is actually to buy time?
My sister, see, the more we read, the less we see is of what we are faced with. You heard what my brother said with some of this. These are not things we should actually be discussing as we speak. It speaks volume of the self-centeredness in every leader that we see. They call for changing constitution, everything. Do you know there are several things in that constitution that we are not following to letter? That if we follow it to letter, Nigeria will not be where we are today, without even changing anything. Is the most predominant one that is affecting the elites that we are shouting that needs to be reviewed. There are certain things in the Constitution that, as we speak, we are not even looking in that direction. We are only asking that let's change. If you study it all through, first and foremost, do you want to change what we have in Section 14 subsection 2? That is the responsibility of the government to provide security and welfare of the citizen. Is that being followed to letter? So we are asking that change. So what should we change it to? We should change it that it should be the responsibility of an individual, you and I, to provide security for ourselves. Each time we are called for constitution amendment, I ask, have you walked through to say, we have actually exploited every aspect of this constitution? and we consider that holistically it should be reviewed. I'm not saying that
But when
we
you talk
should not.
about constitutional amendments, of
Yeah.
course, or changing of the constitution, you can't take away everything. You'll keep those that worked
We
and
must first
replace
pick
those
on,
that did not
Moses,
work.
we must first pick on them. Those that are entrenched there, that are for the benefit of the masses.
All right, let me just ask you straight up. Do you think presidential system of government that we have been practicing, presidential democracy that we've been practicing, has worked for Nigeria? Has it?
It has not worked because we
Why
refuse
so?
to make it work.
Why so? How so?
The angels will not be the one to oversee the activity. It's individual. So if you look at it, since we started, this administration will look at the lapses of the last administration, use it to campaign, come in and give all those promises, and none will be fulfilled. And it will go scot-free, nothing will happen. When the last administration was coming in for 8 years, it was as if subsidy is a scam. There is no subsidy. There was rally at Ojota against Jonathan. And we'll make sure that when we come in, we will abolish it, we'll destroy it. For 8 years, we maintained that subsidy. Nothing happened. This particular administration was both because they were part of the engineering team that brought up that idea to say subsidy is a scam. I remember Lai Mohammed there coming to tell us and was at the front burner saying that no, we have to stand the gap. I say, okay, let's remove the subsidy. We have removed the subsidy. What are the plans that you have actually put in place to make sure that you will augment some of the problems that we are having? You see, my problem is the presidential system. I love it because it gives power to the state, the subnationals. But how much are we monitoring the activities of the subnationals? I said it at the other time, and I'm sure Shola is aware. Our institute have accountability index. How much value are we getting from that to monitor what people are doing? The Procurement Act, how much are we following it that a project contract are not overbloated? How much are the corruption, the anti-corruption agency working to nip individual, asking questions? How much are the religious houses doing? So for me, nothing is bad. It's working in US. Why is it not working here? Because there's a system that works with the presidential system. We don't have a system. We have individual that runs things. So when you're out of space, that because there is no system, that thing ends with you, even if they are laudable projects. We are asking questions. Okay, the subsidy that was removed, so much savings we've had. But we are saying that we are sharing to the state government, that we know what we faced during COVID, with some of the funds raised by the private sector, the PPP arrangement. We are saying, can we have infrastructure? Can you tailor it to say, this government, can you bring up your proposal? We are giving you this fund to see what and what. Those money will come to the state. Few projects will be embarked on, abandoned, and we moved on because we hardly ask questions. So for me, there is nothing wrong with the presidential system of government because it's about federalism. But we are not practicing it to letter. And because we hardly ask questions, presidential way of system will give room for transparency, accountability. The federal government will be accountable to us. The state will be accountable to us. But how much of that accountability are we getting from the leaders?
Don't you think that actually happened to be the reason that they are calling for the change? You know, moving from this presidential to the parliamentary.
The parliamentary will make it worse.
You know what I have to say is now when you look at the way the presidential, you just said it yourself that we don't have a system that is working, and this actually make it look like the president of Nigeria happened to be the most powerful person in the world if we actually had to look at it that way.
Because we try to make him look
because we don't have a system that is working.
So when you move from presidential to parliamentary, are you going to have a system?
I think within myself that. I don't know, but
it's just change of nomenclature.
That's
is that how you see it?
Yeah, it's just change of men. It's about individuals.
So what do you think
until
we need to
see
do?
The sincerity in the part of our leaders? Can we make what we have currently work in such a way that even funds that are disbursed to states, to local, you see, we say we have the federal, the state, the local government. As we speak, in the constitution, there is provision for local government. The last administration fought for the autonomous of the local government. Is it working?
Do you have local government chairman in your place working?
Some people are using caretaker. There's no local government chairman.
So is that what the constitution stipulates that we should have?
So what are
we
we
should have
going to do?
So until we have sincerity on the part of our leaders who are leading us to follow to letter some of the things we have in the constitution, can we even practice it the way it should be? Not we doing it the way we want, when we want to. When it comes to budget, can you in your office, sir, if there is no retirement or fund that was disbursed, are you going to approve another one? But here, we have a budget of so much. We have not seen. The next thing we are hearing is, what do we, borrow me this language, additional funds being requested for. Additional budgetary, supplementary budget. Have we accounted for the initial? Are people asking questions? What and what and what and what did you actually use this for? This supplementary, what is it meant for? If you approve it, are you following? So the legislative that is asking for parliamentary system, I cannot go down right because we want to entrench our faith in them, but they have failed us in monitoring what the executive arm are doing. They are doing as if they are the boys to the executive, forgetting that both the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary, they are at par. They are at par.
According to the presidential
According to the presidential system. But the way we work is that, my president, we are not saying you should not respect the president.
There's no room for checks and balances anymore.
There is none. So because that's why we say you have a budget, the president will not do anything without following the budget. That's what the presidential system allows you to do. But the question is, they will bring a supplementary budget to you, and you are not asking questions. We need to have account. My friend, we both manage fair. So I just gave you 1 million to go and carry out an assignment, and you've worked it out. I say, "Okay, I need additional 200,000."
So are you saying that this presidential system of government would work, but it's the people that have made it not to work?
It's the people.
Because if we're talking about reducing the power of the executive in a parliamentary system of government, and we choose to move away from the presidential system, we know that the presidential system of government that we practice now is such that for the Senate to approve individuals, they have to, Baba at the top has to, approve it first. It's no longer about the Senate screening. It's about who the Baba at the top likes.
Since you have chosen to release your power to the Baba, so
it is the legislature. It is the fault of the legislature.
We've asked question, why will you invite an executive to come? You said screening. Sir, when you want to recruit, somebody comes in because it's your friend's sister, it's my sister. You now say, please, we call for the interview, take a bow.
You see, it's not only taking a bow, it's because, you see, even the House of, I don't have apology to say that, the House of Senate, they're running it like a parliamentary. A parliamentary is just like what happened in the Senate. The winning parties there, they come back together and choose their leader. These are Senate presidents, right? Those are the winning, the most popular. So that is what they are talking about parliamentary. This is the winning party. So we are choosing somebody to now be our leader to represent us, just as we have the Senate president. So if it's not there, so as it's not happening, the president presents, there should be check and balance. In real presidential system of government, the legislative are independent of the judiciary, and they're also independent of the executive arm. So like this now, there's a lot of handshake between the executive and the legislation and legislatures. So in that space, they are not allowing the presidential system of government with separation of power to actually take its beat. Just like what happened during Saraki tenure. It gave the president the fourth of. You can't just, it's also an abuse to that office. The president submits something, you don't scrutinize it, you don't join it and say, okay, because it's the principal, I'll let it go. So at that point in time, you'll be biased, and you are not working in line with the people that appointed you. Presidential is saying that, the person we appoint, and you return the power back to the voters. Vote the person you want into power. Not that some set of people will choose someone to lead you, and you're not. But the most important thing is that you say you can change a leopard, but you can't change his skin, right? You can change some pick. Someone said that take the the MD CEO to the gate and take the gatesman to the seat of the MCO, the seat of the MCO, is within a month is going to make that place to appear like a gate place. And the MD CEO that you took to the gate is going to add more value to that place. Will now assume that people will not need to go to the MD CEO, to the gatesman at the top again. It will solve their problem at the gate, because that is who he is. The only thing that is affecting this presidential system from working is there's no system. So why is it working in US? Because their system.
What do you mean by system?
The system in place that, number one, separation of powers effectively, right? Approval, things are being done, and the president, everybody is accountable, right? If there's any gap in the system, they can vote him out of power. And if there is no performance, they can actually write him. So the systems are working. People are giving KPI. They know what they should do per time. It's not about the nomenclature. It's about the system. Right. Even in the UK now, do you know that they are fighting that they don't want a parliamentary system? When the king, Prince Charles became the king, they said, no, we don't want it. We are tired. This is old. We want a new person as a president that we can also boast to the world that we have a president. UK are already fighting against it, right? So the thing is just like we all know, but the question is that do we have a system?
How do we get to have a system, Dr. Daniel? What do you think we have to put in place?
Very simple. To have a system, we must all submit, there's what we call Go Congress, right? And we must also ensure that all our activities is to the progress and establishment of Nigeria and success of Nigeria as a country. So a system in place is that if a legislative arm does not do what they should do, there should be a parameter in place to be able to measure them. If they've not done well, look at what happened in the UK. After Boris Johnson, the woman that came, she knows that she's not going to perform. She took a vow. Yeah. That is a system. She took it. Nigeria, you took over, we'll die there.
All right.
You understand?
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up.
So at that point in time, when we have the system, I think the system is the most important thing. And we won't talk about, I'll just say this, we won't talk about...
The individuals are the system.
Yeah, no, not the individual itself. Once the system is in place, it's going to control the activities of... Let me give you an instance of a system. Maybe when you come to office now, anybody can come at any point in time. But once there is a gadget, that's why once you come in, you clock in. You see people running because clocking in is already a system that shows the time you are coming to your seat and any time you exit. That's a system. Nobody will need to be looked in the US or in the UK. You don't need the last man say it's almost crossing. Let us wait and we grab him. No, just cross. Go behind the traffic light. You just get their light.
Get your people at home.
That you are holding government. So this is our system. Once we have a system and we ensure that nobody is bigger than the system, like what Alake says, that there are some people that are bigger in those industries that cannot be touched. That shows that there is no system. Nobody is ever bigger than the system or economy.
All right, so let's get your concluding thoughts.
Yeah, my concluding thought is simple. Anyone that have opportunity to find his or herself at the corridor of power today should understand that we are recording. In the years to come, people will talk about you. Now you talk about Awolowo, Zik, what they did at the early stage. Not too far, even the Second Republic, the Third Republic. So our leaders should try as much as possible to know that posterity will judge as we progress. You see, the country is blessed, and I keep telling every individual that cares to listen that the only thing we have is to have good leadership direction that will infuse the system. We have the best policy, even beyond what US can talk about. Our problem is always implementation. When you get there to implement the policy, you look at which one favors me. Look at the lacuna. I've used that opportunity to attribute gain for yourself because you know nobody will punish you, nobody will touch you. If worst now come to worst, like what my brother said, 6.2 billion forged by the president. So tomorrow, if we validate that thing, what will happen is I'll go and cough the money. Okay, I agree that I took the money, plea bargaining. Can I give you 1.5? What happened to the remaining 4.7? The man moved around. So these are things that we're saying. Immediately you admit. The next thing is either be behind the bar and be waiting for you to end. So somebody is saying,
before I steal this thing, let me think twice. I think that is the discipline that we need. We have every resource. Day by day, we wake up hearing about millions, billions. The last administration fought corruption, but under them, we have so much that
so much corruption.
Let's have that. Once we can have that system working to checkmate everybody's activity, because there's nowhere to be than Nigeria.
All right, then we want to say a very big thank you to you, Sheson Okwade, who is a chartered accountant, a chartered tax professional, and a chartered transport administrator, and a political enthusiast as well, a public affairs commentator. Thank you for coming on the program. And we must say big thanks to Dr. Ganiu Oluwashola, who is a managing partner at KJB Professional Services, and also a public affairs commentator. We do appreciate you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll have business on the table. Stay with us.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for